What's going on, amazing people? Jacob Polo here, and we are going to do our Spiritual Sunday today. It's going to be a bit of a brief one, be honest, just flat out, as we do a international country transition. And the reason why we're doing this transition out of this beautiful country of Brazil is to expand the religion, expand Isness and the consciousness, and to put more boots on the ground. YouTube, doing these videos, doing these sermons and stuff like that, podcasts, is my way of charity, right? So it's my way to give back, my way to do things for people, and upload the information and the wisdom and the enlightenment that I've obtained, born with, and have, and that life experience that most people never experience, and to be able to give that for free. Now, understand that this, just from a more of a business term point, I've been a spiritual teacher my whole life. It might sound weird, but let me explain something to you. I was a tiny little kid. I don't really get into my story at all, because it's not personal. This religion, this church, this sermons is my place to translate information from a greater source of information. Just leave it as that. Just say God, the universe, advanced life. It's my way, where it's a we thing. It's not a me thing. It's not me as an individual and that which I am. It's more of, I'm a messenger. They call prophets that I'm an example, and I just lead by example. I don't proclaim myself as being anything else. So I'm just a prophet, a mouthpiece, and I just do what I'm told, basically, and that's what this is. But from more of a personal and from a business standpoint, as I was saying, I don't talk about myself, but I'll use this example for you to understand why what I say by I've always been a spiritual teacher my whole life, is because I was born like this. Always just knowing. It might sound weird, but I was just born knowing. Let's just say I was born dead. So, and I've had a lot of life experience with death, personal and others. And that gives me a perspective on what real reality is, and what happens when you die, and what you're supposed to do while you're alive. And as I was saying, for an example, as a tiny little kid, right? And let's just say I grew up in hell, and like literal hell. What I went through as a child, I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. And it wasn't just a one-off occasion. It was my life for a very long time. And I'll keep it brief, but just, yeah, some fucked up shit. Just born into a satanic cult. And being the victim, the center of the attention of crude abuse, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and unfortunately, sexual. So, like being sacrificed, like I have a slit down my wrist. It's not me. Anyway, 12 years of family law court, so you can guess who it was. Witness protection shit. Everything new. never been able to stay in one spot for long, so I never had a real childhood. Never had friends. Unfortunately, my mother and stepfather, they escaped. Well, my mother escaped with me. It was a long journey. 12 years. Fighting for my life. And you never know the pain of almost catching the people and then getting let down by a family member, which I'll just say my sister failed us. Anyway, less of the depressing. My mother she had a hell of a life as well, hell of an upbringing. And this is something that I'm going to teach you guys and girls. Stop blaming your parents, okay? You're going to have some emotional maturity. They might not have had emotional maturity and the ability to discern and stop themselves. They might be complete slave to evil, and they may have done and said some shit that they shouldn't have, and that's evil and wrong, and you may suffer from it. You may now have, mental problems, physical problems, and a lot of people do. Like, just say, my sister couldn't deal with it and chose anorexia nervosa, and I was like, 12, it was like the 10 and 12 year period was very familiar. And so she was a stick and got sent home to die. That was another aspect of my childhood. I suffered from PTSD my whole life, didn't understand it. And this is a thing that I'm going to teach you guys, is if you have a traumatic experience of like rape or beatings, or your life falling apart, or bad divorce, or bad partner, or whatever it is, boss, war, be grateful. Be grateful that it's a memory of a moment of your mature ability of your consciousness, being that you can remember that moment. Thus, you have the ability to regress back to that moment and cognitively repattern yourself how you react or respond to that moment, and give love and heal that moment. One of those fucked up things, when you grew up through this shit, you don't remember. You're too young. And not only that, if you did, it's all blocked off. Your brain just blocks it off and you can't get it back. So you have no way to really heal it. You just are fucked up. I was a psychopath. A little psychopathic kid. And it's not my fault. I had no fear at all. Like, nothing. I was a complete emotionless monster. And I had because of the poison others put in me. The environment it was just hell. It was chaos. And like I said, you got to forgive your parents and yourself. And because they are dealing with what they are dealing with. And they may have neglected you. But you've got to move on. Otherwise, you're going to completely be shackled to that moment and that memory and that trauma. And you're just going to keep poisoning your reality. And then thus, you're going to pay the sins of your father and your mother, and it's going to become onto your children. You don't understand that. But until you let that shit go, until you heal and stop blaming others and take fucking responsibility of how you feel about what happened to you, you're going to stay in that fucking place, and it's going to destroy you, and it's going to make you destroy other people's lives just as fucked up. And those children that you're going to procreate are going to despise you just as much as you despise those that fucked you up. Because there is no such thing as neglect when it comes to evil. You've got to heal, otherwise it's like consciousness and subconsciousness. Your conscious brain and your subconscious brain. Your subconscious brain, unless trained to be consciousness is cure, it's going to subconsciously, you're going to react and respond to situations, and your whole life is going to be dictated and subject to a thing that you have no control over. It's just preset rules of engagement that your subconscious brain has, and it's going to react and respond to shit, and you don't even know what, you're not even in control. So it's going to poison everything, because that's what evil is. It just poisons. So heal. So yeah, a little bit more about myself. PTSD as a little kid. I had no emotion, no fear, no regret, no remorse, no pain. I couldn't feel shit. Just a fucked up child. Just a subject of fucked up people that didn't deal with their shit. And they, let's just say my father, the leader, yeah. So, I made a choice. I made a choice when I was a little tiny kid, primary school. I noticed that my behavior is not like others, made me very dangerous, because I'm genetically very powerful, very strong, very fast. And when I get angry, I fully let go of my adrenal and adrenaline, and thus my punches and I can fight, become very easy to kill people. And I had no problem with that at all. I have remembered like trying to kill my stepfather with a baseball bat. I was a kid. This is all when I was primary school, teen, and I started to sort myself out. At primary school, I had no guidance. My parents were dealing with their own shit. They still are, and they're evolving. And it was on me, and the fact that I was just born different, born enlightened, I guess. I knew that it was wrong, and I knew that that would lead to only bad things. And I started to notice that I had I could see that was going to lead to problems. And I sort of neglected it until I was, deeply neglected it, not really. But half, I went off in the deep end. And I was a young man, a little bit. But I decided to deal with my shit. No more victim. And I decided to learn how to control myself, discern the difference of the evil shit inside my head, the reactive, out of control, and stop making everyone else pay for my worthlessness. So I saw, and that was my journey. And I had a terrible school, terrible school life. That was the weird thing. I got bullied a lot, but they were all afraid that I was going to kill. They would run from me. It was weird because you could punch me in the face as hard as you want. Primary school, fighting 12 grades. I didn't care. And it's not bragging, it's just crazy. But I not only did I suffer from some fucked up trauma shit and PTSD, and that triggered me, and I went into this whole thing, and I didn't understand why as a little kid. And the psychologist from the courts said that when I grow up, it's going to be pretty tough for me, dealing with people, dealing with life, dealing with the PTSD of horrible shit. And I do remember some stuff, but I won't go into details. But basically, not only that, I had ADHD. And a little bit of what you would call dyslexia. So I couldn't read or write. I didn't understand school. I was full of fucking energy, full of life. Parents didn't take me to school for a few years. Got kept down, kept back. Couldn't read, couldn't write. I was illiterate. Learning trauma ensued. Got picked on by teachers as well. I remember not understanding something and just wasn't bad kid. I found passion in drawing. That's why I became an artist, a tattoo artist. Studied art at university. But I remember a time that my teacher put me in the other end of the classroom facing the wall. Getting picked on and bullied by another teacher in metalwork. I loved metalwork. I ended up taking it up as a career when I was a young man. I was a bucket welder in the mine, so you can imagine starting a career when you're 17 and making 200 grand a year when you turn 18. It's like some wild shit ensued, but it's not about that. I got bullied, and I remember the day I walked out of school. I chose to be in school. My parents didn't take me for a long time. I tried to go to better schools, but private schools in Australia, in this mining town. And I was different, stood out, bleached hair, skates, surf, BMX, race, dirt jumps, rock climb, so I was like extreme sports junkie. Anyway, the day I left school, the day I walked out, my metalwork teacher, I loved metalwork, and woodwork teacher, once in front of all the students, he's trying to tell me to do something, like read something out. I said, I can't read, I don't know what this says. And like the gist of it was that he said, how do you live? How do you even survive? How do you live if you can't read? Like, how do you know what cereal to eat and not poison? Like, he's laughing, the whole class was laughing at me. That was basically, I just made a choice. This was one of the big moments in my life. Made a choice not to kill him. Pretty sure I had like a hammer or a screwdriver in my hand, and I was just saw it. And I was like, no, I'm no longer going to be a victim. And this is why I bring this sermon up, is if I react and I do harm unto another, doesn't matter what they did or didn't do, that's my choice. And I might sound weird, but that's my choice to make a horrible fucking choice based on the evil inside your head that I don't have control of, that I'm a slave to. So if I react, that's on me. If I kill that person, I hurt that person, that's on me. And I was sick and tired of my life being dictated by others. Expectations of others, how they're supposed to treat me or not treat me. And I made that choice in that moment as a young man. I think it was grade 11. 10 or 11. 10. I don't remember. I don't care about this dates and times. They're irrelevant. I made a choice that in that moment, no matter what happens in life, doesn't matter how people treat me, I'm going to still treat them good. I'm not going to be affected or changed by how others treat me or don't treat me, whether it's positive or negative, whether they steal from me, whether they use me, hurt me, abuse me. I'm still going to do that. I'm going to stand up for myself. Absolutely, I'll never be a victim. But I will not give them what their evil inside of them wants. They want somebody to fuck them up so that they can play the victim. Oh, poor me. Remember the evil ping pong game they play? So I made that choice. It doesn't matter what happens. I decided that I will continue to smile. I didn't know that drives people psycho. But that was beautiful. Just smile and do my thing. Like the old thing is like nod and just go do whatever the fuck you wanted to do anyway. Do you understand? You don't need people's permission. You just go do what the fuck you want. Because you're not a slave to anyone else. You have free fucking will. And that's when I walked out of school. And no one stopped me. No teacher, no principals, no faculty, none of them. I just left. And that was it. Went off into my own world. started heavily into extreme sports. Unfortunately, I shattered my ankle, and that ended my athletic career. Freestyle BMX. I wanted to go into motocross, doing the big jumps and flips and tricks. And yeah, then I went off and studied what everyone else wanted me to study, to be in the mining industry, which it's a good career if you want a shit ton of money for just selling your life away. And that's what all my friends did. That's what everyone around you expected you to do. I didn't want to do that, but I did what they wanted me to do, expected me to do, and I was miserable. That's when I learnt money is not the solution, because you'll see all these losers who try to motivate you to buy their product. And they're like, hustle and grind and the money, and you want this, and then, put your head down 10 years and you'll be happy in 10 years. And I'm like, do you know how many people I've seen drop dead? It doesn't matter. That shit didn't fix a fucking thing for anyone. And they just keep selling this propaganda of, yeah, the grind. And once you have it, it's this delusional state of grandeur. And delusional state of grandeur basically means is they need to sell their delusion for you so that you buy into their delusion so that they can stay in their delusional state. They're just not mental themselves. They need others to keep buying into it so that they can keep staying unconscious in their fucked up state. And they keep trying to force others into their delusion. And that's why if you look at all these people and influencers and like, oh, gurus and money, like if anyone's a guru that's trying to sell you how to get rich, happiness has nothing to do with money. If you feel worthless because you don't have a man-made creation, you're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Seriously. Like, oh, I'll be happy when I have this. I'll be happy when I'm there. The ladies will love me. I'll be respected. I'll have power. I'll finally have control. And I finally will not feel like a worthless piece of shit. Little weak coward that you are. You will. I sat in a room with someone worth $150 billion once in their house. I sound like a cocky prick, and they're making me a cup of coffee and telling me their life story. And I have this ability to not care what you have or don't have. I don't care who you are. I don't care if what you got or don't got. It doesn't. I don't give a shit. And if you see it, but I will call you out on being a freaking loser and trying to bring others into your shit so that you feel better. Anyway, back to the guy with $150 billion. Not liquid. Yeah, not assets. I mean like cash. I saw it. But so having these experiences with some of the wealthiest people, I seek information, wisdom, and knowledge. And I can sit with these people and I'm not starstruck. I don't care. And the most beautiful thing occurs when these people and you can have a conversation and you bring value and you learn and you absorb and you can see. I get the opportunity to ask so many questions and understand from such a deeper level to the people that are up on the pinnacles. And I asked them, and they all told me the same thing. And it was my intuition saying, like, so it's like being a scientist. Like, I'm a scientist. I do studies. I do biology. I learn about the chemistry. I learn about the brain, the psychology. I studied all this sort of shit, right? And philosophy. And being a philosopher means that your brain never stops. But the point of it is my intuition was like, okay, this doesn't fix anything. Living in a penthouse on the beach in Gold Coast doesn't mean shit. Having everything you've ever wanted. I was retired at 20. I was retired at 25, I think, or 26. I don't remember. Anyway, I was retired. Never had to work the day in life. Cash comes in. I was stuck in this loop that nothing was good enough. And I had to get more, 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 more. I'll get to why I travel and live in third world countries in a minute. But nothing was good enough. Nothing fulfilled me. Nothing was eternal. Nothing. And my intuition the whole time was like, hey, dum-dum, you finished yet? You're going to wake the fuck up? You're going to keep going around being a slave to evil and keep feeding its junkie? And yeah, my intuition. So I asked people around me. I seeked out the information and the wisdom and the enlightenment of those who have done. I don't give a shit what your opinion is if you've never done it. I don't care. And my creation, my purpose, so very few people in history, and since the beginning of inception of humanity, has ever done it. So I have no reference points from anyone. So my enlightenment meant that I had to become connected with source information, God, the universe, higher self, so that I can find answers and experiment. And my experiments led me to talk to people that saved me a lot of time. Like, I wasted a few years, going to business school and diploma in business and running my own company and running my own business and doing all that sort of shit. And it was just like, it was a waste. It was an experiment. It was an experience. But it was a waste because it didn't fix anything. It didn't fulfill anything. I was just constantly consuming like a morbidly obese person trying to binge eat and hoard and constantly needing, never having body dysmorphia, never being big enough, strong enough, deadlifting 233 kilos after a broken back. That's easy. But it doesn't mean anything to me. I just need more. That was my young, idiotic shit. So how's that? I went to college, couldn't read or write, did my executive master in fitness and a diploma in business. Nothing like throwing yourself in the deep end to learn how to read, learn how to write, learn how to be resourceful, learn how to study, learn how to do it all. But the point of the story is your intuition telling you, be happy now. God whispering in your ear, you're worthy, love yourself. Be it is so and it is done. All this stuff, it's real. Allowing yourself to self-harm, self-abuse yourself with substance abuse, food poisoning, technology junkie, social media whore, all to validate your existence and needing permission to feel good enough. What about womanizing? Always needing attention, always needing that confident boost, always needing the next hit. I was the worst because I was given the opportunities that most people dream of. Male model my whole life, pretty much. I was young, living in Gold Coast, personal trainer to models, and so when I used to roll out, it was suits, a lot of women, limousines, VIP. And you might, young fellas or girls, might be like, wow, he's awesome, that must be so good, I wish I had that. Rolling into your penthouse. I'll tell you the truth. Here's the truth. I'm going to save you so much time. And it's all in the Bible that I'm writing. The truth is, I hated myself. And I was full of regret. Didn't matter how many girls I slept with in a day. Didn't feel shit. Didn't fill the hole inside of me. Didn't make me feel better. Didn't complete me. Didn't fix me. I was just a junkie. Just a junkie. And I remember the moment, the last time, and I'm like, that's it, I've had enough of this bullshit. I regretted it every single time. Every single time I picked up a chick and took her home, it was like I'd wake up and I just wish I was anywhere but there. And they were models. I remember turning down, let's just say, more than 2, 3 girls begging for some 4 models, 3 models or 4. I'm just like, nah, I'm done. And my mate, he used to call me stun gun because I used to stun the girls. And it's just like anger at me. He's like, you, what? How? And I was just told him, I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being the victim. Because that's what I am. I'm the victim. The victim to evil. And I'm only passing on evil and using these girls. So, I went celibate. In my 20s, I went celibate. I think the first run, 3.5 years, I think it was. And I stopped drinking, stopped partying. I just stopped hurting myself. Stopped being a slave to evil. Stopped spreading evil. Stopped doing evil. And I went on a spiritual pilgrimage in 2007. And in this pilgrimage, I've been all over the world. I've been into solitude, isolation, fasting for 2 weeks, water, fasting, climbing mountains. Where everyone else went this direction for just capitalism, man, just consumerism. They just went down this path, and I didn't. I went the opposite. I went up, and everyone just kept going plateau. And they all wanted this, and they all wanted to buy a house, and then I was just like, I had it all at 18. And I'm like, that doesn't fix shit. But no one listened. So I was like, went on my own way. Left my family, left everyone, gave everything away. I've done that like 3 times in my life, gave everything away. I had nothing. Just to get rid of that addiction. All of the stuff I've had, like the best of everything, I've had everything that anyone could ever want. And I just didn't mean anything, and I was afraid. And I'm like, this junkie. I'm just like, you have to give it away so it doesn't control you. You're not a slave to it, and your value is not depicted upon the value of a fucking object, an inanimate object or anything like that. The new rich is not about wasting your life because you never know how much you got. And trust me, it's a lot less than you wish. You never regret not having anything when you're dying. Accept a second chance. Accept a way to relieve the regret, to say sorry, to say I love you, to forgive yourself, to forgive others, to find true love. That's what you really regret. Anyway, the moral of the story, using myself as an example of like, I valued more giving up everything and moving to Thailand and living there and hanging out, going to the monasteries and doing the martial arts and following my career as a tattooist and artist and learning and evolving and growing. That moment is far more valuable, and I became far more valuable from that than any fucked up shit thing I've ever accumulated or hoarded. Having a motorbike accident, breaking my back, and losing everything again. Losing my ability to go to work. Being poor. Being in rehab for 7.5 years of rehabilitation. So that I wasn't in chronic pain. So that I could go skateboarding. I couldn't skateboard. I couldn't walk down the street. That was a valuable experience, far more valuable than any materialistic item that I could ever hoard and accumulate. Even though that it was an extraordinarily painful one, I am grateful for that pain. I'm grateful that the stuff that I purged, things I lost, things losing the ability to have my comfort zone taken away. I couldn't work in the mines anymore. Like, I used to make $10,000 a fortnight. And it was just easy. Life was easy. Too easy. And it enabled me to stay, it was an enabler to stay a junkie. Not drugs or anything like that. A junkie to evil. A slave to evil. A slave to worthlessness in here. And I have so many conversations with people that don't want to be there, but they can't leave because they're addicted to the money. They're addicted to the lifestyle. But mine got taken away from me. Mine got taken away. And I was angry for so long. And I was in pain. My fiance at the time left me because I wasn't rich enough. Ironic when you see the woman that's like, yeah, I don't care about this stuff. And then they leave you because you can't give them that. And you're just sitting there fighting a war inside yourself with depression and anxiety and suicide and PTSD and unable to just go for a walk down the beach like a normal human being. And you're just trying to heal. But that's not good enough for them. So they leave you and they go get the guy with the Ducatis and all the houses and all the things. And you're like, that's going to be a tester of your strength and faith and your value. And it was. I left. She's like, blah, 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 this and that, blah, blah. I'm like, and I had a dream, vision. And I had a vision had a vision about something, true love, because I was obsessed with twin flames. And then I knew to talk to somebody. And I talked to my mate, far away, and seen in ages. And he gave me a piece of advice. And I was hesitant, didn't know what to do. Should I continue into the suffering with this person and lust with these people? And he's like, you can fuck up destiny. You can be the exact reason that you fail life. You can be the exact reason that you destroy your opportunity that's predestined for you by not doing something that you should, by letting go of what you that you shouldn't have. You can fuck up the most divine life And we always say divine by, oh, I don't want to feel anything. I want life to be perfect so that I am so emotionally mature that I don't have to do any internal work. I edit externally because I'm so worthless and primitive and useless internally that, oh, if I don't get what I want, then I don't feel good. And if you say something I don't like, then I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to try to silence you because I'm so emotionally weak and so worthless and valueless that, when others speaks, shut the fuck up, idiot. You're projecting your pathetic, useless worthlessness on others and expecting them to give up their free will so that you don't feel something that you can't handle and you don't hear something that you don't want to hear. It's pretty... Congratulations, you failed life. Anyway, my friend told me this piece of information, that you can fail life, you can fail destiny, that you will miss opportunities if you stay in this comfort zone. And I valued myself more, and I knew I had to remove the stress and stressful people that were too emotionally mature and reactive and explosive and violent and abusive. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I value me. 6 months after that separation, left everything. I had a backpack. I've done this so many times, just a backpack. I disappeared. 6 months later, no, 7 months later, my doctor got a checkup. He's like, I don't know how you did this, but everything's fine. You've healed yourself. I did. I didn't feel pain. The pain was gone. The suffering was gone. I was back training. I was on the beach. I could skateboard. You know what I mean? Like longboard, not ramp anymore. I'm not doing that shit anymore. But that's what it was. I was fine. 7 months before, I'm the worst patient they've ever seen. I don't know how you're alive. I don't know how you're walking. I refuse medication, painkillers, because I didn't want to deal with another addiction. I didn't want to deal with the destroying of my guts because of the pills. And having to deal with that shit after I'm dealing with this shit. And to be honest, I just couldn't afford it then. I was on a disability. I went from there to 7 months later. Fine. My life. In this, you might be asking what I was doing in this transition. I'm a personal trainer, a life coach. So I've been doing this nearly 20 years. I was going to get to that. That I've run a successful business for nearly 20 years. So I wasn't able to, and I'm an artist and supplement my income that way. But my point was this, is like, I went from such a bad place, and like my doctor, very close, I said this to someone and like, oh, your doctor said this to you? That's terrible, it's a bad doctor. I'm like, no, it's an honest doctor. That's what I want. I want honesty. I don't want this fluffy shit. And he was became a good friend of mine. Anyway, he said to me, I don't know how you haven't killed yourself. The amount of pain that you'll go through on a daily basis, your life is falling apart. And I started studying. I got a diploma in interactional digital media, and I furthered my life coaching degree at the same time, because I just wanted to keep my mind, because that's what happens, is your mind just deteriorates. And if you don't, because your whole body's deteriorating. And I went from a massive guy to this tiny little thing that's fragile, my neck and everything was bad. And that's when I took up gaming and stuff like that. I became a competitive gamer, become number 1 in the world in hardcore domination, which is the hardest version of Call of Duty. And Call of Duty Ghost. So that's dates when I was in rehab for my broken back, not drugs or alcohol. Yeah, stupid shit. Competed in a couple of tournaments and stuff like that, and clan wars, and just to get the win inside my head to fight back the darkness, to be honest, the depression and the failing at everything and life just slipping away. So I started in this time I went and studied art at college. That was amazing. Then I went from art to interactional digital media, which is kind of like apps and graphic designer and stuff like that, which opened great doors. And I was expanding my life coaching degree, and like it was just constantly keeping my mind progressing and removing all of the negativity and all the stress. And I supplement, and I this is where all my life program began. It was like, okay, time to put your money where your mouth is, enlightened boy, Mr. Man. And so I started my studies and started, having routines and programs that I would put for myself to help myself heal myself legitimately. And it worked. Like one little thing every morning, I'd wake up and I'd put comedy on. My favorite, like Billy Connolly or Joe Rogan or Bill Burr. And now it's Mr. Lynch, and who's a guy with the studies, awesome comedian. What starts with the D, his first name, Dwayne. I don't know, but Lynch is his last name. You should check him out. He's an amazing comedian. When I wake up and before I go to sleep, I change my vibrational frequency. I looked at my body, and basically every few years, your entire cellular structure from bone to skin to brain is brand new. You get a new whole entire body every few years. So I found out where I was in that calendar spectrum, and I just pointed my body in the right direction, and I just kept following that principle. It was that feeding my brain positive, healthy things, that I was meditating, that I was doing conscious breathing, that I was doing mindfulness, that I was doing art and visualization and gratitude. And basically what I looked at it, the principle that's the best way to explain it to you is that I used the universe the way they're supposed to be used, and I became that which I desired, the feeling. So instead of, I want this house, or I want this Ferrari, or I want this hot girl, or okay, so you want this thing to, and it's funny, it's not to feel this way, it's to actually not feel that way. So you don't want to feel positive, you don't want to feel happy, you don't want to feel good enough. You want to stop feeling unhappy, you want to stop feeling negative, and you want to stop feeling not good enough. Do you understand? So I started to look at the reality and go deep, deep, deep into consciousness and enlightenment, and connect myself one with God. Best way to explain it. And I looked at it, and the best way I use it to teach this is I teach it in this one manner that, think of it like a video game, okay? You do a bunch of menial tasks to gather XP, to gather gold, to gather coins, whatever you want to use it, so that you can level up. And when you level up, you can reach the next level. You understand? So I do this, and this, which raises my vibrational frequency, that hormonal or chemically or physically, my vibrational frequency, I'm doing everything that levels me up, everything that's gold, everything that's perfect, that's good, that's highest vibrational energy. Food, nutrition, meditation, intermittent fasting, water technique, like I did all this every single day, and I put it into an hour by hour regimen. And my focus was evolving to the highest level that only the highest things can ever exist. And that I am the highest thing that exists. My consciousness is one with God, the universe, and subsequently my body will heal. And it did. And my doctor was like, I don't know how you did this, but you're fine. And I was. And and that was physically fine, but in here was absolute gold. In here, the value, I was in control of this because I was in one with the universe. I was one with God. I was connected. I was consistently conscious. I put that as my highest priority, was consciousness, that I determine how I feel, what I think, what I believe, that my faith is eternal, that my power and strength comes from me. I am the source of light. It doesn't matter what happens or doesn't happen externally or internally. I feel amazing. I choose to be positive. I choose, and my choice is not ever questioned. My choice, there is no little fucking cunt in my head saying, oh, this would be awesome. You're not good enough. You'll never do that. You can't do that. You're a worthless piece of shit. You're pathetic. You're weak. You can't. I've overcome every I can't through pure will. And then I started to learn that you can work smart, not hard, and be efficient and proficient. Not look busy like everyone else is in society, trying to buy shit, trying to be something, trying to prove their value. No, actually be productive, not look busy. And people started to appear in my life. And everyone kept asking me the same question. How did you do this? Suicide people were like a magnet to me. I have pulled knives out of people, like legitimately twice now. I have fought people, hand-to-hand combat, to take knives out of people, slitting their wrists in front of their 2 kids. And I went into the house, and they tried to stab me. My best friend, high on fucking drugs, when I was a child, fighting him all night to keep him alive. Bigger than me, faster than me, chasing him, and he just had so many knives. He's just determined to kill himself on. And I was whacked out on drugs. We were fucked up. That was the first time I took hard drugs. I was young. Tripping balls, like the walls were like, and I'm trying to stop someone murdering themselves whilst not getting murdered by them because they wanted to kill themselves and I wouldn't let them. So he tried to kill me so that he could kill himself. Just some examples. And I'll go take you back to my very first moment when I was a little kid. Here's the scene. I'm not old enough for school, primary school. So I was very, very young. I had no money. This was whilst I was still in family law court. So we're hiding. We're in the middle of the bush, which is the outback, Australia. And we had no running water, no electricity, living in a caravan with wood, like a little bit of a house built off from wood from the dump. Parents grew veggies. Okay. What you could technically call third world. As I live here in Brazil, and you see the favelas, and they have water and electricity. We didn't. Anyway. There was a moment. This is where I explained to you that I was born this way. Enlightened. Just knowing. And consciousness is always there whispering in my ear. God. Whispering. Come this way. Come this way. Come this way. Come this way. It's a gift to have that. And I'm so grateful for it. Even though I may have not listened to it for a lot of my life. I might not have gone the right way. but sometimes it was loud enough to stop me going so far down the wrong way that I'll never be able to come back. That's why in 2007 I changed my life, because I saw I'm either going to end up dead, I was with the worst person, surrounded by losers, or I'm going to end up in jail. And I wasn't evil, I didn't hurt anyone, tried not to. I wasn't trying to be gangbanging or bullshit loser crap, no. I just lived very extremely. And I had that epiphany. I was like, I've got to change my life, and I did. I sold everything, I gave everything up, I borrowed money and went to a place that I've never been and started college and changed my life and went on a spiritual pilgrimage that took me all around the world and through hell and high water. And funny enough, a few years after, I saw the person and my best friend who ended up stealing my car and shagging my ex when I went to Thailand. I saw his mum because I was trying to find him, and he disappeared because he knew I was back. And I wanted my classic Australian muscle car back, which is worth a fortune. Funny, the car got stolen twice. First two guys went to jail. Second guy, my friend that I let him... That's just like... And that's the thing, is when you take people to court, you're going on with that. You're wasting your life and your time trying to get something back, trying to get revenge. And I just let people go. Sisters still, friends still. They're no friends. What I learn is that's the price I've paid to see someone's value worthless. And that's the price I've paid. So money is to remove a problem. That's a problem. The person's having a problem. It's not me. So like, not using money so that I don't evolve, but using that. They stole that. Oh, okay, cool, sweet. Yeah, I don't have it, and yes, it's cost me a lot, but now the poison, the liars, the cheaters, the stealers, I can see who they are, and they'll always show the evil side, and I'll always know, and I'm grateful for it. So I didn't like go to court and all that shit so many times, and like, whatever. I don't want to waste my life trying to get something back when I'm more valuable than any materialistic thing. And my peace, my harmony, my tranquility, my life is more valuable than anything. And they're so worthless that they need to take to have. I'm eternally abundant. So I don't need to get so that I'm valuable. I create value. Anyway, so the point of that story was I saw his mum, going through a divorce from a cheating husband. And she let me in. She asked me to come in, and she broke down in tears, like talking about everything. And like, if I wasn't the enlightened master that I was and am, constantly evolving higher, this wouldn't have happened. And I talked to her, and I was there for her, and God, the universe, my higher self spoke through to her, and she was completely stunned, and she's like, "You're a totally different person." And she said, the one who stole, who's my best friend, we even looked the same. He's like, I wish you were my son. I wish my son done what you did. You're completely different. You're an amazing person now. And that's where I was like, whoa. Back to my story of being a little kid. I had nothing. Life wasn't going so good. I was going better because I wasn't getting abused from a cult. And apparently, so I used to just sit there meditating in the bush. That was my natural. Understand this, that my parents weren't like this, and they were neglectful. I was left alone. Like at school, I was left out front of school for 3-4 hours. In the rain, that was my childhood. There was no information ever coming in about any of this from anyone, ever. I'd left alone to my device every single day. I was hungry, I'd find fruit off trees to eat. Anyway, my mum tells me this story over and over again. She still says it today. She's like, you came to me when you're very little, and you said, Mum, we're the richest people in the universe. I didn't know what a universe was. No one taught me, but I knew. You understand? We're the information you're born knowing. It's weird. We're the richest people in the universe. Mum said, she chuckled like, no, we're not. Like, we don't even have running water. It's out of we don't have a toilet. It's an outback toilet. You shit in a hole. Like, your shower is a bucket. Yeah, so people who are seeing this in a third world country, first world isn't so great. Anyway, I said, we're the richest people in the universe. She chuckled, says, no, we're not, and asked me, how are we the richest people in the universe? And I said, by the love that we share in our hearts makes us the most wealthiest people in the universe. Born knowing. So that's why I say I've been this spiritual guy and spiritual being my entire life. For a lot of people, you're not from this planet. And I'm like, the point of this bit of backstory is I value all the things that didn't go right. Because in that time of suffering and pain, I stopped being a little slave, coward bitch to evil. And I stopped letting things, evil, change the way I think and feel and believe about myself. And I became the source of light. The source of love. I love myself. I am happy. I have inner peace. And all of this greatness didn't come from everything going right, ever. It all came from everything going horribly wrong. Now, I want to tell you something. You think that that things are bad. Things don't go right, it's bad. It's only bad for evil. Because if you only grow when it hurts. That's why growing hurts. And you see it as bad, but it's not you saying it's bad. It's evil tricking you to believing that this thing that is bad, so that you must resist it. You must try and never, ever, 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 ever let it happen again. You don't learn from it. You don't understand why it's there. Bruce Lee once said probably a lot, pain will leave when it's finished teaching you. And that's the point, that you see comfortable, everything being perfect as good. I don't. I see that as the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. Imagine having a life where you see no adversity, that you stay a victim, a slave, a worthless piece of shit your whole life, and you die never being the elite master, never evolving to God consciousness. That you see that your value is always external, not internal. You see a self-entitlement. What a worthless existence. What a worthless existence, that you are so weak and pathetic that things, being there or not there, change you. You're so weak that a little breeze knocks you over and sends you tumbling down the rabbit hole to evil. Those things that you are running and hiding from, they will catch you. Because guess what? You all die. And when that moment is coming and time slows down and you relive every single moment that you had and that you caused others, oh, I find it quite hilarious, because I get to sit here and I get to watch, and and I know what's coming for you. And I laugh in your face and I go, I know how much it's gonna hurt you. I know how much karma's gonna kill you. I know how much it's gonna torture you. Time stops, people, and you're stuck in the perpetual hell, reliving that moment over and over and over. You can't run. You can't hide. Death is coming for us all. And in that moment, you're either gonna high five and be at peace because you were at peace. You were enlightened. You were valuable. Yeah, you righted your wrongs. You said your sorries. You made it up. You were something of value and of power, of use. You did great things. You were a positive impact on yourself. You loved and respect yourself. You were happy. So thus you had value to give to others around you. And the world was a better place. If you do anything but this, if you're a person that hurts and others, hurts yourself, self-harm, neglecting yourself, your health, your fitness, your mental capacity, cutting yourself off and not being free will, not being connected to source energy, which is consciousness and enlightenment. If you aren't this, you failed life. And why would you want to spend your whole 30, 40 years, 50, 60, 70? You want to spend 70 years a worthless piece of shit, unhappy, no self-value, no self-worth, no self-love, not complete, not happy, no inner peace? Just hustle your life away. Waste your entire existence trying to get to a top of a mountain that doesn't exist, that you're being tricked to go and do. And when you reach the top and realize it didn't fix anything, you either go down two holes. One, delusional state of grandeur, which that person is selling you the lie that you become now a puppet of that preaching, and then you have to keep telling everyone else the same fucking lie that someone else told you so that they can feel better, and now you're just a fucking embarrassed little loser that goes, oh my god, this didn't do anything, this didn't mean anything, I'm a fucking failure, I'm a loser, it didn't work, oh my god, it didn't work, what the fuck, what do I do now? It didn't work, everybody thinks it's this thing and now I'm here, but it didn't do anything. And then thus the darkness sets in and you're swallowed alive. That comes the second part. Suicide. Substance abuse. Abusing others. Staying a little junkie slave on the treadmill, going around and around and around and around. What a waste of life. What a waste of potential greatness. Existence, your regret. You are the regret that existence has. This story was to teach you one thing. This isn't how great I am. Like I said, I don't like to talk about myself. I generally don't. I don't give a shit. Like I said, I've been living in Brazil, Florianopolis, and then up here in the mountains for nearly 4 years. Choosing silence. Purposely choosing not to speak or learn the language so that I can be in silence. So that I can expand my other senses, my intuition, my sixth sense, understand and communicate at a higher frequency, at a higher level, by listening to stand, not speak. It's not about speaking, it's about doing. It's about being that which you desire. You desire the Ferrari. How about you be the feeling that you are lacking? How about you be valuable? How about you love yourself? But you just want that thing. It's not you, it's the junky little evil inside. Part of the 7 deadly sins. Hoarding. But anyway, the point of this analogy is embrace, embody, be grateful for the pain, be grateful for the suffering. because it's breaking you free of the slavery to evil, which is your comfort zone. And when you become so powerful that nothing shakes you, nothing moves you, that not even death can take it from you. Oh, my children, welcome to the next level. Welcome to your evolution of consciousness. Welcome to where humanity is supposed to be, where you're supposed to be. Where that you're so powerful that you change everything and one around you. That they are better off because you exist, because you can change the vibrational frequency of every single living thing and dead in the universe, because you exist. Remember, 150,000 people evolved in consciousness has a literal effect that changes the frequency and the behavior and thoughts of all living life and its surroundings. Check out the experiment, I think it was New York City, where a bunch of people did meditation for a certain amount of days and crime dropped in the whole fucking area by 70%. Oh, imagine that! When two or more come in thy name, I must show up. We, not me. Connection to consciousness is a connection to the source of all. When you look at your friend and you look at the other, know that you are looking in a mirror. And even if the other is so significant and insignificant as a tree, a twig, a cloud, you are one and the same. No separation. Consciousness is killer, people. Anyway, I'm going to go off and do some awesome shit today. And I want you to do the same. Do you think you have much time left? How much time of how many hundreds of thousands of years do fucking humans have to fail? You're running out of time. Like, really. There's no more. You realize that you are the savior. You. This individual, whoever sees this archive of information and enlightenment passed down from the highest source. Like I said, not me. That which I am connected and one to, same as you. Just without saying too much, remember, a wise man doesn't say everything they know. They say just enough after listening to everything everyone else has to say, for they have all the information now. We suggest you get your shit together and do your fucking job. Okay? It's really easy. You all know what to do. I've told you what to do. We've told you what to do since the beginning of time. And exactly what not to do. Because apparently we need to tell you what not to do. Idiots. So primitive. Anyway, I'm going to love you, leave you, and I'll see you next Sunday for our Spiritual Sunday. My suggestion to you, do your fucking job.